Hey guys, my name is Kirsty and welcome to another book review. So today I'm going to be reviewing the Ink and Bone book by Rachel Caine, and this is the first book in the Great Library trilogy. So the second book is Paper and Fire and the third book is Ash and Quill, which has recently just come out. For the Ink and Bone book, I managed to read one of my own books for once whilst I was reading another book for a publisher, and I thought I'd pick this one up because I've been wanting to read it for absolutely ages, and it's a book about books. I mean, what more could you possibly ask for? There's the Great Library of Alexandria and the scholars and researchers. It's absolutely amazing, and I thoroughly loved reading this book. I think I read it in a couple of days, which is really good for me since I had like 2 other books on the go, I think. So yeah, this is really good. So I'm going to put this book down and I'll get started with the review. So I've read Rachel Caine's other massive series, which is the Morganville Vampires. I think there's like 14 books in that series, and I read those when the whole Twilight phenomenon was going on. So I was about 15 years old, so it's quite a long time ago. So I was excited to read a newer series by Rachel Caine. What this book is about is it's set in the future and all books are precious, so you only have the original copy, which is stored in the Great Library of Alexandria. And there is a group of people called burners who believe that everyone should be able to own copies of books that they want to own. You also have a group of people who they find rare copies of books and they sell them to the rich upper class people of the society who want to own these rare books. And these people are the black market smugglers. So to own your own private books is a crime. And it's about this boy called Jess Brightwell, and he comes from a family of black market smugglers, but he lives and breathes books. He absolutely loves reading all the copies that his father smuggles for the rich upper class people, so Jess tends to read them before they get smuggled. This book is about the fact that Jess gets the opportunity to apply for a job at the Great Library of Alexandria, and it's about him taking this test to get in and all of the tasks that are set for him when he gets there, and it's about the friendships that he makes along the way, the romance that he is involved in. But there's also this dark underlying theme of the library where Jess starts to unravel all the secrets and the mysteries that the library holds. Now, I really did like this book. I absolutely loved it. I loved the characters. Some were written to be very unlikable, but I loved to hate them. So it was that kind of character-reader relationship. And some of the characters I absolutely loved. The one thing that was a bit weird about this book was the system in the library. So there's this system where you can send books from a certain room to the tower, which is where the obscurists keep the private novels and protect them. And this transportation system, it wasn't made very clear in the book, but it almost seemed like magic. And there's also instances where words would just appear on a page. So think of the Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets film, when Harry Potter is writing in Tom Riddle's diary and Tom Riddle's responses start to appear on the page. That is pretty much what happens in this book. I don't know whether that's just futuristic technology, but the whole transportation to the obscurists and the writing system, it did seem like magic, and it got to that point where I was getting a bit confused. I was like, well, how does this even work? So I would have liked a bit more of background information about that whole process, but I was willing to overlook it because the story was just so good. I loved the suspense, I loved the thrilling element of it. I loved the friendships that Jess struck up, and I also loved the character of Scholar Wolf. At first he comes across as a very harsh teacher who just doesn't care, but over time you do see a massive character development in him, and you start to learn things about him that changed my perspective of him. At first I was like, Scholar Wolf is mean and he's horrible, how dare he be horrible to Jess and all these other characters. But then at the end of the book I was cheering for Scholar Wolf, and I absolutely loved him. Another thing that I found a bit iffy about this book was the chapter length. They are really long chapters, and long chapters sometimes just put me off the book completely because it feels like it's taken ages to read from one chapter to another. So a chapter in this book is normally about 40-50 pages, and when I started first reading the book it was just such a grueling process because I like to put the book down once I've finished a chapter or 2 or 3 chapters. I don't like leaving my bookmark in the middle of a chapter, so for me it was really difficult because I had to read like 60 pages before I could put the bookmark in. But once I got into the book, which was probably after the 2nd chapter, I was just reading it constantly, so I didn't really have to worry about chapters and stuff like that. Apart from the chapter length and apart from the lack of information about the process of transporting books to the obscurists and the writing element of the book, like the magic element, apart from those 2 things, this was a fantastic book. It left you on such a massive cliffhanger, which is horrible because I don't have time to read the 2nd book right now, but fingers crossed in the near future I will be able to, because this book just has so many feels. I felt such a strong relationship to all of the characters, and there is a certain character called Dario, which is the character that I love to hate, and he just says the most funny things. He's this kind of well-to-do character who believes that he's better than everybody else, but he gets knocked down a peg or 2 by Jess, and Jess also strikes up a friendship with this German boy called Thomas, who is such a supportive friend, and he just wants to try so hard and he studies for everything and he stands by Jess's side no matter what. And there is a lot of diversity in this book. So it's set in Egypt mainly because of the Great Alexandrian Library. Then you have Jess, who is British. You have Kalila, who is a Muslim. Thomas, who is German. Glaine, who is Welsh. And if there's any more characters that I forgot, I'm sorry. Those are just the ones that I remember from the top of my head. But it is a really interesting book. I do recommend that you read it because, like I said before, it's a book about books. Like, what more could you possibly want? There's fighting, there's politics, and there's a little bit of romance involved. So yeah, that's it for my review of Ink and Bone. So thank you guys for watching. If you did like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. If you've got any questions or comments, leave them in the comments box below, and it would mean a lot to me if you clicked on the subscribe button, just to add that little bit more of motivation for me. That's it for now, so I'll see you in the next video. Bye!